What's up, guys? Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So if you spend a great deal of your day sitting in a chair like this, or even an office or desk chair, you gotta do something about it, because I'm sure every time you stand up, you feel about 30 years older than you are, because you just feel too damn stiff. Today I'm gonna show you 5 stretches that you can do to quickly, instantly undo that stiffness of sitting, that if you do this consistently over days and days and days, is also gonna help to permanently undo the problems that are coming from sitting for too long. Now, I don't care if you're in traffic on the way to work, or if you're traveling a lot, we sit a lot, okay? So now, what are the problem areas? Well, the first thing is we tend to sit with this rounded posture. If you're gonna do something about it, you're gonna have to undo that. My favorite thing to do before you even get up is this simple stretch where you put your hands up behind your head like this, and all you're gonna do is try to get one elbow, pick one side, get it up towards the ceiling, and then open your chest towards the ceiling the same way, okay? Just like this. And you can lean into the back of your chair a little bit for support, but all I'm trying to do is get the elbow up and open up that chest. And what this is doing is stretching out one of those underrated areas that gets tight when you sit a lot, and that's your rib cage, which just gets depressed from sitting like this, and also your lats, especially if you're typing a lot all day, you have your arms out in front of you, it's internal shoulder rotation. We can open that up and stretch out the lats a lot, as well as that rib cage on that side. And here's the thing about this whole routine. You only have to do it 3 times, 3 repetitions, 5 seconds apiece. We call it a 3x5 routine. So that'd be 1 repetition, 5 seconds on that hold, come out of it, 2nd repetition, try to go a little bit further, 5 seconds, come out of it, 1 more time. And of course, you're gonna do it to the other side. The next thing that you would do is somewhat of a modified pretzel stretch. You take your hip and you cross it over like this. So 1 ankle across the opposite knee. And all you're trying to do is push down on this leg, right, to open up this hip to get more external rotation of the hip, something we don't have a lot of at all anyway. And then you're gonna reach down towards the floor. Okay, now this arm, if you can, is gonna go on the inside here of this knee, just so I can kind of keep it in position and push it out. And this one's just leaning down. And all of a sudden I can feel that stretch right up in through that hip and also through the low back, because I'm not trying to maintain a good upright posture here. I'm allowing myself, as you come around, to just kind of lean over and slump over that side. But I reach down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, come up for a second, come back down. Again, we're doing these as dynamic stretches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, come up. Of course, 1 more repetition, switch it up. You might find that one side is tighter than the other. This one actually feels a little bit more loose for me. That's fine. I'm still gonna go and push down. If you have a knee that really drifts high, just try to get as far as you can and then reach as far as you can, okay? It might still be too stiff to go all the way flat, and that's totally fine. Now, that's your second one, 3x5. 3 repetitions, 5 seconds, 3 repetitions, 5 seconds. Now, you stand up. All you need for this is that chair and a wall, okay? For this one now, it's not just about stretching out muscles that get tight. A lot of the problem that we have with sitting is we get an inactivation or just a quieting down of muscles that don't get an opportunity to fire. So your job is to try to wake them up. And this is where you start to really feel good. We call this a wall slide. All I'm doing here is just trying to get my hands up against the back of the wall and my forearms ideally up against the back of the wall. Okay, so a really good upright posture. And I'm gonna slide my hands up to a count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, at the top, if you can't keep your forearms, which many of you will not be able to, keep them in contact with the wall, that's okay. As long as you keep the back of your hands up in contact, that's what you're looking to do. Come back down again, slide it down till you get your elbows tucked to your sides, and go back up again. Slide. You might find it a little bit easier the second time around. 2, 3, 4, as high as you can go. 5. And come back down. What's happening on this stretch is by forcing your hands to remain in contact with the wall, you're getting active shoulder external rotation. To sort of do opposite of what's happening all day with your shoulders and internal rotation. You're turning on the rotator cuff. Come up, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, I guarantee you, even at this point in this little routine, you walk away from there, you're gonna feel so much looser. But let me take you back to the chair for a second. Because as I mentioned, if you're like most people, you're sitting in the chair with this slump position. If you're like me, you're sitting in the chair like this all day. What's happening to those disengaged muscles of the lower body? The glutes are not working here. And I don't care if you think about squeezing them together throughout the day, because that's not doing anything, because their main function is they have to be extended. The hip needs to be extended if you want to activate the glutes. That means it needs to be at least out of flexion, and even better than that, into extension behind you. So you utilize the wall again to help to wake up these muscles. And we can do two things at once here: stretch the hamstrings and also get these glutes engaged. So the first thing I do is just utilize the wall, and I'm gonna just lift this leg up. And in the process of lifting this one up, it's this leg that's doing all the work. I want you to forcefully squeeze this glute as hard as you possibly could while lifting this leg up. And what the lifting of this leg does is it helps to get more into extension on this back leg. So it's gonna basically assist you in feeling a tighter contraction here. Squeeze for a count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I want you to step back and extend this hip. So now it's this glute that's actively extending behind the body, so I'm forcing this to work at the same time that I lean forward and get a good stretch on this hamstring, okay? So I'm down here and I'm stretching the hamstring at the knee, which can get tight when your knees are bent sitting down. So here for a count of 5. Now, one thing I don't want to see you do, which you might have a tendency to want to do, is as you're going down, you just turn. Don't turn, that's a cheat. If you want to get the glute maximus to work, you got to keep it straight behind you, all right? So no turning of the foot, keep it pointed straight down towards the ground here and get it behind you. I would do 3 of these repetitions, 5 down there, 5 up here. Then of course I'd work the other leg and do the 5 and 5 for 3 repetitions. And lastly, the one thing we haven't really addressed yet is the tight hip flexor. And we know that sitting all day is gonna get tight. We reserve this stretch for last so that if we got any additional tightness from actively engaging the hip flexor this way by lifting the leg up, we can finish by just stretching it out. So what we do here is we're gonna get up against the wall, drop that outside leg back like this. So we're getting into a hip flexor stretch for this hip, this outside hip. The wall will help us to do one other thing, and that's intensify that stretch. Because I can get a better stretch on the hip flexor if I get my arm up here, I'm lengthening this even more, and then leaning in this direction. Right, by leaning in this direction, I'm getting even more of that stretch in here, and the wall safely allows me a landing point here for my upper body so I can really sink into that stretch. I go in there for 5 seconds, I step up for 1 second, clear it all out, step back, stretch, arm up, lean towards that wall, really stretch it out here. 5 seconds, come back, 3 repetitions. Again, the other side, you just step over, turn around, step back with that outside leg, sink into that hip flexor stretch, put that arm up overhead, and then again, lean into that wall. I do 3 repetitions of 5 seconds. When it comes to sitting, we all have to do it. But if we don't do anything to undo it, it will have some repercussions down the line here. Don't let that happen, not when you have something as simple as this to actually help you. If you're looking for more of these guys, more stretches or routines, you can find them all on our channel here. Click subscribe, turn on notifications. And if you look for a step-by-step program that incorporates stretching and training, you can find it over at ATHLEAN-X.com. All right, guys, if you found it helpful, share it with someone else that you know will as well. All right, guys, see you soon.